This $100 bill, you use it every day. You chase it, stress over it, fight for it. But have you ever actually thought about it? Like, how does a piece of paper buy tacos, Teslas, and iPhones? The stuff we call money? It's not backed by gold, not silver, not even logic. Just one thing: confidence. That's it. We believe this paper means something, so it does. So the real questions are, what is money? Why does it work? And why do governments print trillions while you can't even afford eggs? Buckle up. You're about to learn why money might be the biggest shared delusion in human history. The illusion begins, a history of money. Before money, humans did what we do best: overcomplicate everything. We had the barter system, a genius economy where trade only worked if someone wanted exactly what you had, exactly when you had it. You've got eggs. You want bread. But the baker wants fish. So now you have to find someone who wants eggs and has fish, just to maybe get your bread later. That's not a trade. That's a logistical nightmare. This was the barter system. Every deal required a perfect match on both sides, a double coincidence of wants. Sounds efficient, right? Yeah, not really. Even when trades happened, they were wildly unfair. Trading a tent for a pair of sandals. Straight up daylight robbery. Oh, and if your product was seasonal, tough luck. Tomatoes rot. Shoes don't. You could grow the juiciest crop in town, but unless someone's hungry right now, you're out of luck. Meanwhile, the shoemaker can sell year-round, rain or shine, because shoes don't spoil in a week. So even if you worked just as hard, your wealth had an expiration date. Literally. Barter wasn't just inconvenient, it was unfair by design. Eventually, people got tired of being hustled. So we upgraded. Instead of, "I'll trade you eggs for sandals," we started using commodity money, stuff everybody wanted. Salt, animal skins, shiny beads, even weapons. These weren't just useful, they were universally tradable. Think of them as humanity's first IOUs. I don't want your goat, but I'll take your salt. Someone will want it. Suddenly, you didn't need the perfect trade. You just needed something that held value. But we didn't stop at salt and beads. Oh no, humanity got weirdly creative. Here's how strange and genius early money got. Cowrie shells, literal sea snail shells, used in Africa and Asia as bling and bucks. Hard to fake, easy to carry, and just rare enough to be valuable. Sea snail savings account? Yup. Cocoa beans. The Aztecs ran on chocolate. These beans bought goods, paid taxes, and doubled as sacred drinks. That's right. Your mocha latte used to be a paycheck. Rice. In ancient China, rice was edible currency. Store it, weigh it, pay taxes with it. Basically, sushi-powered money. Cattle. Big budget bartering. In ancient Rome, pecunia, money, came from pecus, cattle. These were walking bank accounts with horns. Tea bricks. In China and Mongolia, bricks of tea were stackable cash. Trade 'em or steep 'em. You could literally drink your wealth. We went from eggs and sandals to cows, cocoa, and caffeinated coins. Because people finally figured out, if it holds value, it can hold power. But what happens when everyone wants the same shiny stuff, and suddenly it's everywhere? From shiny things to shady kings. Humans didn't wait around for Visa to invent payments. We just looked at what people wanted: food, tools, status symbols, and said, yeah, that's money now. Worked fine until it didn't. Because here's the problem. If your money's everywhere, like seashells, it's worth nothing. That's economics 101. Too common means too cheap, which means too useless. So we leveled up. Nearly 3,000 years ago, the Chinese said, let's stop trading fish bones and make actual money. And boom, bronze coins were born, shaped like tiny farming tools, then rounded, for convenience and finger safety. But here's why it worked. Real metal, real scarcity, real value. A gold coin was worth its weight in, well, gold. Melt it down, still rich. No debate, no illusion. But then, enter kings. And kings? They love money, but hate doing the hard stuff like mining gold. So they got creative. They started. Mix the gold with cheaper metals, shaving coins thinner, stamping royal faces like it's still worth full price. Same coin, less gold, more scam. And that's when it happened. Money became an illusion. Its value wasn't in the metal anymore. It was whatever the king said it was. Congratulations. You just invented inflation. 2,000 years before central banks showed up with printers. What started as measured by weight became measured by trust. And that shift, that's when money started getting weird. If coins were heavy, what came next? When paper became power, and we fell for it. Next problem? Coins were heavy. Try hauling $10,000 in bronze down the Silk Road. You're not making a trade, you're doing CrossFit. So kings and merchants got smart. Here's a piece of paper. Leave your gold with us. Trust us. And weirdly, we did. Because those papers weren't random napkins. They had royal stamps, wax seals, silk ribbons, the full Renaissance starter pack of legitimacy. And here's the twist. People stopped redeeming the gold. Too lazy, too trusting, too busy bartering for spices. Eventually, the paper became the money. No one cared what backed it anymore, as long as someone else believed it had value. That belief, it planted the seed for something wild. Fiat money. Cash that's worth something, because we all agreed to play pretend. The gold? Gone. The trust? Still for sale. Okay, but didn't money used to be backed by something real? From gold-backed to government-backed. Fast forward a bit. By the 1800s, most countries finally got their act together and said, let's back money with gold. Every paper dollar equaled a chunk of real gold chillin' in a vault. Solid. Sensible. Scarcity equals value. But then, humans did what we do best. Go to war. World War I, World War II, global chaos. And surprise, surprise. Governments started printing money like there was no tomorrow. They had 1,000 ounces of gold, but printed $2,000. Math check. $1 now equals half an ounce of gold. That's not value. That's watered-down wealth. Enter inflation. Panic. Economic whiplash. So, in 1944, 44 countries got together for a financial therapy session called the Bretton Woods Agreement. The fix? Tie every currency to the US dollar and tie the US dollar to gold. Why the US? Because after World War II, Europe was broke, Asia was rebuilding, and America had nearly 75% of the world's gold, and none of the battlefield damage. Uncle Sam looked rich, stable, sparkly. So the world said, fine, we trust your dollar as long as it stays tied to gold. Problem solved? Not even close. So what do you do when you've printed way too much money and people start asking to see the receipts? The Nixon shock, aka, screw it, let's wing it. By the 1960s, the US was spending like a teenager with their parents' credit card. Vietnam War? Expensive. Cold War arms race? Expensive. Lyndon Johnson's Great Society? Big bill. So what did the US do? They printed more money. A lot more. From 1960 to 1971, the US money supply, M2, jumped from $598 billion to over $1 trillion. But the gold backing it didn't budge. In fact, US gold reserves fell from 20,000 tons after World War II to just 8,100 tons by 1971. That's like telling the world, don't worry, we've got your money, while hiding an empty vault. Foreign countries weren't dumb. They started cashing in their US dollars for gold, and that's when Nixon slammed the brakes. And Nixon said, nope, we're out. Surprise. In 1971, President Richard Nixon officially decoupled the US dollar from gold. No more gold standard, no more vault math, just vibes. It was called the Nixon shock, because the world went from money equals gold to money equals whatever we say it is. And guess what? Every other country followed. Because if the dollar isn't backed by gold, and your money is backed by the dollar, then nobody's backed by anything. Welcome to the modern economy. Fiat money. Backed by confidence, enforced by governments, manipulated by policy, and inflated by printer. Go brr. The illusion became official, and we all clapped like it was genius. How fiat money works. So, if money isn't backed by gold anymore, what is it backed by? One word. Fiat. The Latin word. It means, let it be done. Back in the day, kings would shout, Fiat, and suddenly it was law. Everyone eat bread. Fiat. Now, governments just shout, legal tender. And suddenly this paper rectangle has power. That $100 bill? It's not worth 100 because it's backed by gold. It's worth 100 because the government says, this paper is money, use it, believe it, and don't ask questions. And guess what? We believe it, not because we trust them. Let's be real. We believe it because we don't have a choice. Fiat money works because we're legally forced to pretend it does. The government says, this paper is valuable. And we say, sure, as long as I can buy tacos with it. But wait, how can paper be money? Because the government says it is. Because the economy needs it to be. And because if you try to pay your taxes in goats, they'll call security. It's all built on confidence. If your government is stable like the USA, people believe in the currency. They use it, they save it, they trade it. But if your government collapses, hello Venezuela, hey Zimbabwe, nobody wants your monopoly money. Doesn't matter how many zeros are printed on it. If people don't trust it, it's trash. And here's the catch. If governments can declare what money is, they can also create more of it, whenever they want out of thin air. Sounds cool, right? Until you realize printing money without increasing actual stuff like food, housing, or Teslas just means prices go up. That's inflation. So what happens when governments go full printer mode? Let's rewind to 2020 and watch the circus. In 2020, the world shut down. Economies froze, businesses closed, people stopped spending. So the US said, no worries, we got printers. And oh boy, they went full Picasso. In 18 months, the US printed nearly 40% of all dollars ever. The M2 money supply, cash, checking, and savings, jumped from $15.4 trillion in February 2020 to $21.2 trillion by August 2021. That's not a typo. That's the financial version of YOLO. At first, it felt helpful. Stimulus checks, unemployment payments, rent relief, money rained from the sky. But eventually, too much money chasing too few goods equals higher prices. Groceries creep up, gas tanks cry, Chipotle charges 20 cents more for guacamole, and that's how inflation hits you. Recap time. So here's the deal. You work for money, you save money, you stress over money. But what is money? Just paper, pixels, confidence. And while you're out here trying to be responsible by saving it, governments are out here printing it like it's a Costco receipt. Inflation eats, your paycheck shrinks, your savings rot. So no, stacking dollars under your mattress isn't saving. It's slow-motion self-sabotage. The game isn't how much money you have. It's what that money can still buy tomorrow. So stop worshiping paper. Start buying value. Assets, skills, ownership, things that outpace inflation, not dissolve under it. Because in a world where money is made up, the only real wealth is what holds up when the system doesn't. Money's not real, but your bills, very real. And your rent? Still do. So hit that subscribe button and learn how to beat a system built on make-believe. We've got more no-fluff, fun takes on personal finance, investing, and building a smarter life. No yachts, no gurus, no magic. Just real talk. See you in the next one.